Hey, we're back. This is John.
And it's Eric.
And there's no Paul, so this is What If Geeks without Paul. We are Paulless.
Every time you say that, it makes me think of a disease.
True. Well, it feels like a disease. It feels like we're missing.
It does. Not quite whole.
Not quite whole. Paul makes our. Anyway, so Paul just got back from his vacation in Yellowstone, so he hasn't been able to catch up on a lot of the shit we've been talking about. Like later, we're going to do the Loki 2 or episode 2 review. But right now, Eric and I decided since just me and him, we'll jump into catching up on some Geekly Weekly shit. We haven't done that in forever. So, and now we're starting to actually ramp up into some kind of cool news. You know, it's getting pretty interesting now. What did you say?
What's that?
Talking to you too.
You say, wouldn't I say? Is that what you said? I missed it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, this is
Interesting news indeed.
Welcome to John Talks Geek.
I'll,
Talk to the wall.
I'll be here all night. Make sure you tap me so I know when I need to respond.
Yeah. At the screen. Oh yeah, so we've got a few things in the news, some box office stuff that after the year we've had, I never thought we'd talk box office again. But there's a little stuff in there, you know.
It does feel like a long time.
Yeah, we got some trailers. All right, so what do you say? You want to jump into the news first?
Some trailers. We got like 6 trailers to talk about. I know we're probably a little behind because we haven't been very disciplined in recording with everybody on vacations and shit.
Yeah, we were definitely a few weeks behind on at least a couple of these things. But, you know, better late than never for the 5 of you that actually missed us. So what do you say? You want to take the first one?
Sure. Not a whole lot to say about that one, to be honest, but it was announced that Scarlett Johansson would be producing and starring in the Tower of Terror movie that Disney is making. That will be based on the
Ride.
Yeah, the ride. Well, I was gonna say the what the hell's the show that the ride's based off? Twilight Zone. Yeah, so it will be based on that. They did not reveal any details except for that she is starring in it and she is going to be producing. I think that's really all we've got. Now, there was a Tower of Terror movie. I don't know if you saw it, John. It had Steve Guttenberg and a very young Kirsten Dunst. She must have been like 15 at the time, probably even younger than that, actually. Let me see. It was 1997. It was made for TV. It never went to the theaters or anything. It was also based on the ride. I assume they're going to do something very, 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 very different for this. But who knows?
Twilight Zone, which the ride is obviously based on, or at least the opening to the ride is based on. So I was trying to figure out how the hell they're going to do a movie on the Tower of Terror. It's a drop ride. But I know the whole thing is the entrance into it and all that other shit, the story behind it. So if they do something like that, I mean, I wouldn't mind. Say she goes into they'd have to remake a lot of shit, or you know, kind of rebuild sets or whatever. But if she goes into some classic episodes of the Twilight Zone, like the one with the thing on the plane, you know, William Shatner in it.
Yeah, I don't know.
They do that, and then like every time like she pops into different Twilight Zone worlds, she falls. You know what I mean? Almost like a quantum leap kind of thing. Like she falls as different levels of the tower that she's on. Or some shit like that.
I'm curious. I feel like they're going to have to actually avoid that because I think we talked about probably months ago the Twilight Zone series, right? Where what's his name? Jordan Peele. Thanks. Jordan Peele was the host. Now, if you remember, that series, that Twilight Zone series, was on CBS. Now, Disney owns ABC, And Disney did the original Twilight Zone Tower of Terror movie thing, but what happens now? I mean, if CBS is doing a series, they must have bought the rights to it, right? And you know that that CBS series too played off a lot of the old episodes. It wasn't the same stories, but they sort of borrowed from them. There was a plane. It was an episode based on something to do with a plane and terror in the sky kind of thing. So I'm curious now. Maybe it was just a temporary thing for that one series. I have no idea how any of that worked, but I'm
thinking how the ride. I mean, I know the ride is based on Twilight Zone, but really, if I remember correctly, when you're going into the ride, it does that whole thing like with the paintings that stretch and everything, right? So, isn't that the one I'm thinking of? The Tower of Terror?
No, actually, the painting stretching in the elevator.
Yeah.
No, that's the other Haunted Mansion ride.
Which one's
Tower of Terror is the one in Hollywood Studios, big, tall thing, and there is a Twilight Zone theme. Not the entryway so much, but once you get into the ride, there's like a Twilight theme sort of movie thing. But you end up on an elevator that like shoots up and down and bounces, and I'm not sure if you've been there, but then at Disneyland, they remade it into a Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Yeah.
That after we went when Noah was little.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same ride, but it's just themed Guardian of the Galaxy now. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would assume just very narrowly here, I'm not predicting the future or anything, but there's probably going to be a hotel involved. You know what I want this to be, John? I would like this to be something close to a horror movie with like a possessed hotel, but I'm sure it won't be that.
I would love for it to be that, but like you said, coming from Disney, I don't think it's going to. But I would love for it to be that because I could definitely see it doing something like that. Like a possessed, like you said, a possessed hotel would be cool because then every time she gets on the elevator, it just like jumps up and down real fast and then lets her off on a different floor and something else fucked up happens to her.
Yeah, there was another television series like it was also ABC actually. Disney. Oh fuck! You know what? That might be a clue. Disney didn't do it, but it was done for ABC. 666 Park Avenue, and it was about a haunted hotel basically. And there was all kinds of weird supernatural shit going on.
I'll check it out. All right, 666 Park Avenue.
Yep. It only actually had one season though, because everybody didn't like it.
I'll check it out just because, I mean, right now I just got done rewatching Birdemic because I hate myself.
Really?
Yeah, because both Birdemic movies are on Tubi.
Oh.
And I want to watch the second one, even though I know I'm going to be disappointed more than the first one. I'm expecting very little out of this thing. I mean, not that Birdemic was like, Citizen Kane or Avengers Endgame or anything, but it was good for a bad movie. We enjoyed ripping it apart. I don't expect Birdemic 2 to hold my fascination as much. So, but I wanted to watch the first one again just to kind of, remember how god awful it was.
You are a glutton for punishment, sir.
I am. So yeah, so I'll have to check this out too. This Park Avenue.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting for as long as it lasted.
All right. Oh yeah. So yeah, like you said, little information on this one. We don't know much, but it's got ScarJo in it, so I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah. All right. So on to, you want the next one, Transformers?
Yeah. So we've got Transformers: Rise of the Beast storyline is revealed, which I knew there was going to be multiple Transformers stuff coming out. And actually, before we get to this one, if you haven't already, on Netflix, you have Transformers War for Cybertron, and it's like a trilogy. So the first one, I think, was like, I forget what it was called. It was just War for Cybertron. But then the second one is called Earthrise. And it's all about, like, if you remember back in the day, the cartoon, the first 15 minutes of the cartoon when the Autobots are leaving Cybertron and the Decepticons chase them, right? And you see like when they transform, they did it similar in the first few minutes of Bumblebee. They were on Cybertron. And you saw like the classic '80s Cybertronian forms of the Transformers, like the Seekers. All the jets were triangle shaped instead of like actual jets. Yeah. They're the same on here. They're the old school Cybertronian forms, right?
Yeah, well, I saw Optimus Prime is in that. Yeah. Whatever that G1 is, that what it's called? G1 form.
Yeah, he's in the G1 form, and it's cool. It's a decent story. Like it tells you why they're leaving Cybertron and everything, and how Megatron rose to power, that kind of thing. So it's interesting. I'm halfway through the second of the trilogy, so it's like I want to say 8, 9, 10 episodes each. So I'm halfway through that second part. I don't know when the third part's coming, but then they had this, and I want to say there's another like. Well, they talked about the movies. They're going to do a Bumblebee sequel and something else. But this one, The Rise of the Beast, looks pretty cool because I guess they're going to do. It's inspired by Indiana Jones films, and the human characters are actually a priority now, which is different. Well,
it's not different. It was that way in Bumblebee, right?
Bumblebee, and it was also like what do you call it? The '80s movie. You know, they had the '80s TV show. You know, you had Spike and his dad, Sparkplug, whatever the hell his name was.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very centric to the storyline. So yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool. I'm wondering, Rise of the Beast is definitely.
It's based on the Beast Wars series, so they're gonna introduce Terracons and Predacons in this one, in addition to having the Decepticons that we've seen before.
Yeah, it sounds like they're kind of combining both, because in the Beast Wars cartoon that was kind of like old school computer graphics, remember that? Mm-hmm. It was like just like you had Optimus Primal, who was a gorilla, and you had Megatron, who was Tyrannosaurus Rex. And then everybody else had, like, you didn't have Starscream, but you had, like, you know, different characters. I think maybe there was 1 or 2 other references to the G1, but for the most part, they were their own thing. Until, like, I want to say the end of the first season or the beginning of the second season, you realize that these Transformers are the first attempt by Teletran 1 to revive the original Autobots and Decepticons. It's kind of like it happens prior to, or just prior to the '80s cartoon, because they do it like there's a scene in there where they show up at the Ark, and all the Transformers are laying there, like in stasis or unconscious or whatever, like how they did for like millions of years, and like Teletran had gotten these other robots and like made them into the Autobots and Predacons, whatever the hell they were, for the Beast Wars cartoon. It's kind of weird. I only kind of watched it vaguely because of my kids, but I remember some of it. So, but now here it's also like you've got, because I know like Predacons and Terracons, I think you had I mean, that might have been the name of the 2 of them, but I thought those were also names of like the combining Transformer toys and some of like the more like the '80s shit. But I don't remember. I think the Predacons were, but who the hell knows? I don't remember. Well, I mean, I'm down for it. If it, you know, we'll see. Because the way it says, like Optimus will be in his G1 form, and Bumblebee would be a Camaro, and you're dealing with like modern times. And that's not what they did in the old cartoon. So I don't know what inspiration they're going to take from Beast Wars, because Beast Wars happened like before humans. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it could
obviously, yeah. There's obviously going to be humans here, because this is they said in the I don't know the comments that Paramount Pictures made that this was going to be set after Bumblebee. So this is in the 90s.
Okay.
So it's definitely switching the timelines around, I suppose.
Okay, because at the end of Bumblebee, he did turn himself into the Camaro, and everybody thought that that was like because he joins up with Optimus Prime and the rest of the Transformers on the bridge as he's driving away. But he goes from the Bug to the Camaro as he does it. You know how they do that thing in the new movies where they just change their form at will.
Yeah.
When he does that, he becomes a Camaro. So everybody was like, "Oh, okay." So it's showing you like everyone knew. We talked about it too. Bumblebee was kind of a soft reboot, and they kind of left the end hanging open so that it would lead into that Shia LaBeouf, Michael Bay original Transformers. But after Bumblebee did so much better than those, it looks like they're doing what I said. They're just going to kind of veer in another direction. Like, you know, they made you think it was leading directly into that, but actually it's leading into this, which would be cool.
Well, it does say the Terracons are going to be the main villain in this, I think, right? Go back and look now. I thought that's what I saw. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Scourge, the leader of the Terracons, will be the main villain in the film. Yeah,
that's cool. So definitely it'll get away from.
I don't think Scourge was the leader in the cartoons, was he?
No, it was Megatron. Scourge was
for the Terracons.
No, yeah, it was.
It was like some dude that like ate all the time. His name was Hunger or some shit like that.
Some dumb shit, yeah. I don't know.
Oh well, I guess we'll see where they go with it. I mean, it's just limited info at this point. I forget when this is coming out, but it's not for a little while. Let me look that up. June of next year, so it's a year away. Almost. Right. Actually, it's exactly a year away. It's June 24th of next year is the release date.
There you go. All right, I'm down for that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think Bumblebee is probably one of the best, maybe Transformer movie.
Yeah, to me, it was the best Transformer. Like, I really enjoyed the first Transformer movie, although it was very hard to, especially once you got into 3 or 4 of them, it was hard to decipher which Decepticon was which because it was a whole bunch of constantly quick-moving shots and a bunch of gray robots. They were all gray. Well, at least the Autobots, you can kind of tell who they were, you know. But then it was also Michael Bay. So it was blow everything up and let's get a really slow panning shot of Megan Fox, which I'm never going to complain about. But yeah, so yeah, we can thank Michael Bay and the original Transformers for giving us eventually a road to Bumblebee, which is an actual good Transformers movie, and giving us Megan Fox. So there you go. All right, I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be cool.
Yep, could be good. Star Wars Acolyte. So, not that they've revealed any serious details or anything, but
but the first detail has a lot of fans laughing.
Yeah. So the showrunner, Leslie had. What was that?
Especially after Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Bad Batch and all this other good shit that's been coming out. What'd she say, Eric?
Yeah, so Leslie Headland, who is the showrunner, I don't know what her official title is, like producer or something, but it really doesn't matter. The one who's heading up the storyboarding and everything. She did an interview recently with AV Club, and she was talking about her approach to developing the series. And the thing that was really weird there is the way she described it. And so she was talking about, 2 different things. The first, the one that makes everybody laugh. At least everybody likes Star Wars, I guess. But she was saying it's not Star Wars, that she thought a lot about Jean-Luc Picard, which if you're a Star Wars nerd and you hate Star Trek, maybe you don't know, that's the main character on Star Trek Next Generation and the Picard series. And she thought about the way he would utilize his crew And that was how they planned out the storyboard for the series, was thinking about Star Trek, particularly Jean-Luc Picard.
Any kind of series about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Go in fans' minds, the polar opposite, and get your inspiration there.
Right. And then the other part about this that's really awkward, and it makes me fear for the series, but who knows? I mean, you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day, like I said. So she was talking about later in the interview about you know, her team and everything. And, you know, she was talking about how she wanted to put the team together or whatever, and the kind of people she wants. And she was saying that she purposefully didn't hire people that are diehard Star Wars fans. And she said it's weird, but she was the person in the room going, well, and you know, 325 BBY, and everybody was looking at her crazy because they don't know the timeline, they don't know the show and that kind of detail, or they don't know the storyline and that kind of detail, right? And then she's like, hold on, I'll send you a link about it.
So, which is, again, the polar opposite of one of the things that made Mandalorian great was Filoni and Favreau said, if you don't love Star Wars, you're not working on the show.
Yeah. I mean, and even though them as the showrunner were like deep, I mean, Favreau, sure, but I mean, particularly Filoni, I'm like embedded, like he wrote some of those stories for the Star Wars universe, you know? So yeah, it's wild. You know, you can't on any Star Wars fan page or forum or whatever, you can't go in there saying, oh yeah, I took some advice from Star Trek and none of the people here know Star Wars. Like the show's going to get a bad rap before it ever gets on the screen from doing that.
And, you know, for us, after a couple seasons of Mandalorian, and then they announced Bad Batch, Boba Fett, right? We were on a high.
Yeah.
After the sequel trilogy kind of like petered out, and we weren't exactly thrilled with it, Mando boosted fans who were like, Star Wars is back. Disney's actually righted the ship. Well, apparently they righted the ship right into a whole sea of icebergs, and we're going to see if they can navigate it.
Yeah, well, here's the really disappointing part about hearing all of that, because Acolyte is the one show and everything they've talked about that's going to focus on dark side and how the powers from the dark side came to be.
Right.
You know, like, right. So, you know, the only official description we've really got is that it's a mystery thriller that's going to talk to us about shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers at the end of the High Republic era.
Which ironically does not scream Captain Picard to me at all.
No, not even a little bit.
So I don't know. I hope we're wrong. But I, you know, to quote one of my heroes, Han Solo, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Well, you know what? If it just runs one season and then flops, and I mean, whatever, we can ignore it like we ignored the holiday special. It's fine.
Sure.
We'll go back and watch it in 20 years to make fun of it.
That's right. Right here. Stay tuned. All right. So next, something that I love, and we've actually attended one of these together, right?
Mm-hmm. Attempted. We did one.
I said attended.
Oh, attended. I thought you said attempted.
Oh.
I was like, you were hanging out in that area where the girls in the tight leather were dancing for a while, but I mean, we still did it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it was funny. I got like my first beer that. All right. So anyway, we're talking about Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. It's coming back. It's the 30th year anniversary of it. And they're bringing back Jack the Clown. Well, apparently this time Jack's going to be all over the park. He's not just going to be in one area. He's going to pop out all over the place, which is cool to me. But going back to what Eric said, yeah, a couple years back we did it with his wife and my daughter and our exchange student that was with us. We wandered around that whole thing, and I got my first or second beer of the night, and we were walking into the Rob Zombie area, and they were pumping out White Zombie movie music, and there were two girls in freaking cages hanging above the street, dancing in leather skirts, and I just looked up. And Becca said, "Well, we've lost John for an hour." I said, "I'll be right here."
There was a stage too that had some weird bondage shit going on. You remember that? It was like a dominatrix, like whipping a guy or something.
Yeah, it was really wild. Hell, is it this family entertainment?
Yeah.
I was like, "Holy shit, this is."
I think they do say that you should not go there if you're under 14 or something.
Yeah. You shouldn't to any of them, because some of them are really scary. They do it up. They really. I've gone to the Universal Studios one quite a few times. It was, we used to go to the Busch Gardens one back up north. That was pretty good. That was a good one. They do kind of very similar to this, where they release a bunch of monsters throughout the park and whatever, and they'll just like sneak up on you, and the whole thing is like filled with smoke machines and fog, so you can't see a damn thing coming at you. This is very similar to that, where Disney, SeaWorld, they do the fun stuff for the kids, where the kids can go trick or treating and you can pick up treats and shit like that, which is a lot of fun for the kids and everything. But this is definitely for the grown-ups, and I love this. I love this so much. So I'm definitely going to this year.
I don't know, what year did we go? 2018? Was that what it was? 2019?
Yeah. 2 years. Yeah, 2019, because Mika was here, and then last year there was no exchange student, and this year we just signed up to do it again.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. I feel like I remember Becca having lost her voice the next day from screaming a whole bunch in the haunted houses.
Yes. She scared the hell out of my shoulder once or twice walking, and I was like, "Thanks, but your husband's over there." She's like, "Shut up! You're standing right in front of me." Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I like it. Jessie will be home day after tomorrow, Saturday, to do the rest of her online classes and to do her externship. So she'll be home for a few months. I think she's probably going to be home through that. So we'll have to do it again this year. So if you want to come.
All right. Yeah, I'm down. Oh, when is it, by the way? I suppose we should say that when we're talking about an event, huh? Yeah. They usually start it like a little bit before Halloween, right? Like a week before or something.
Into September all the way through October or something. I don't have it open. I
have it open. It doesn't say the dates in this article. Maybe they haven't announced them yet.
It'll be coming soon. I mean, it is still only June, so probably August they'll announce the dates. Oh no, actually July. They'll announce them in July because they gotta give them a couple of months to buy tickets and shit. All right. I'll tell you what, let's break for a second. I gotta piss.
Okay.
Give your dog a second to calm down.
What did I miss?
I'm talking to myself. I went through all the box office now. All right, so on to box office. Ironically, like there were a few things that dropped like in the last couple of weeks while we were gone. We've been gone from the show, but not while we were gone. One, I guess I'll actually start right in the middle because we actually watched this together. Luca, the new Pixar movie, dropped last weekend.
Sounds right. I think it was last weekend we watched it, right?
Because we watched it over at your house on your big ass screen, and it was funny. So it's got this is a movie about bird people, basically. And, two little boy mermen that these people, if they get out of the water and they stay dry, they look human.
Yeah, it was a really weird take on the merman thing because they were basically sea monsters when they were under the water. Right. It wasn't like the upper half was human and the bottom half was fish. It was like all of it. It looked like I don't know what, but Creature from the Deep or something.
It definitely looked like the Creature from the Black Lagoon kind of thing.
Yeah.
With long tails, so. But then they come out and they dry off and they're human, right?
Yeah, look like normal humans. Yeah.
So, but anytime they get wet, even like a little bit wet, whatever part of their body gets wet, you see their scales, right? So it's like the camouflage goes away. And that's a running joke in the entire movie. But their whole thing is these two boys don't want to stay under the water. They want to go into this town and learn about humans. The one kid thinks he knows all about humans, and he's trying to teach the newer kid all about it. But they want to go get a Vespa and then drive all over the country.
They have a weird obsession with Vespas. Yeah, must have Vespa.
And it's very much a they have an understanding of it similar to Ariel and the Little Mermaid, where like they think they know what they're talking about human shit, and they have no idea. So, and a lot of the jokes kind of come from there. But overall, the on Rotten Tomatoes, it got 89% on the Tomatometer, and it did not have an audience score yet. But we watched it. I can say before we get into what we think, I want to say a few hours before, like we were gonna come over to your house that evening and watch like 8:30, right? Because we were watching it on the screen outside. Around noon, Noah goes, "Can I go over to Liam's house?" And his buddy Liam. I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Why?" He goes, "We're gonna go watch Luca." I said, "We're watching it with Mr. Eric and Miss Becca later on tonight." He's like, "I know. I'll watch it again." He's like, because he hadn't seen Liam because we were on vacation before that, right? So he's like, I just want to go over there and hang out. I was like, all right, fine. So he rides his bike over there, watches the movie, comes back. He would not spoil it. He wouldn't say. He just said, "I liked it. It was good. You like it." And I said, "All right, you're gonna watch it again?" Because I figured, at 9 he'll just change his mind and be like, "I don't want to go," and then we'll be watching it at home. But he was like, "Yeah, I want to go." So we came over to your house and we watched it. What did you think?
I mean, it's got some.
Watch it, so we kind of go in and out of there, talking to other adults, and it's not like we're sitting down watching a movie.
Yeah. I mean, it had some funny lines. I mean, the storyline, the characters, they're all kind of cutesy. You know what the thing that bothered me the most about that movie, though, had nothing to do with the story. I mean, the story is like, whatever,
it's Pixar,
kids, finding themselves out. It was a little bit about diversity, even though they never really made it about that, but accepting different people and blah, blah, blah. They didn't really make it too much about that, but that is part of what it was about.
Yeah, it was an underlying thing. They did it well because it was subtle.
Yeah. But the thing that bothered me about it was how heavily they leaned into like the Italian stereotypes. It was so ridiculous.
It was.
Some of the characters have such ridiculously, they're all speaking English, mind you. I mean, they do speak Italian here and there, but they're mostly speaking English. Some of the characters, go ahead.
They sound like half of my family in New York.
Yeah.
Italian, but they mostly speak English, and then they break into Italian for like little bits and pieces. That's what this cartoon did, which I get it. It's an American cartoon, but
the accent was so bad sometimes that I didn't know what they were saying.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And it's not like I can't rewind it when there's 10 other people watching.
Yeah, some of those people cannot do an Italian accent to save their lives.
Yeah,
I did get my favorite catchphrase out of there, Santa Mozzarella. I was like, what the fuck? She just said Saint Mozzarella.
and they played up the Estupido like 15 times in that thing. Estupido. Oh, it became like a stupid trope. I don't know. So overall, yeah, it's fine. 89%, if I was rating it on a scale of 0 to 100, I certainly wouldn't be there. I'd be above 50, but
yeah, I definitely say it's no Toy Story, it's no Inside Out. I mean, those are some of my favorite Pixar movies. It's serviceable. I liked it. I didn't definitely I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I wasn't over the moon about it like I am like the Toy Story. But Toy Story was like, I don't know, that was a phenomenon. So that was something different. But yeah, it was good. It was good. You should watch it.
It was okay. So I actually thought, huh?
The kids will love it.
Yeah, the kids definitely like it. I went into it though thinking, because we've done a few of the poolside movies on the big screen, and I went into it thinking I was gonna have to pay $30 like we've done for the other ones, but this one was actually free. They just dropped it right out, no cost. So there's a lot of value in that, believe it or not.
Yes, yeah, we were shocked, and it was cool because when we realized because we found out because Jessie was watching it in Texas, like right before we came to your house. She texted Heather about something because she's getting ready to come home, and Heather was like, "What are you doing right now?" She said, "I'm watching Luca," and Heather about lit her up a new asshole. She was like, "You order something?" And she's like, "No, it's free." And Heather looked at me. It was like, "Did you know Luca's free?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Sorry, they leave me out of these meetings a lot." I don't know why. Even just because I have a podcast about this shit, I don't know everything. They do that shit to me at work too. Like, "Hey, did you know such whatever?" Or they literally say, "Why did they do this?" And I'm like, I don't know. They forgot to let me in on the email. What do I know? Just because I'm King Geek in our little circle. But yeah, so that's how we found out it was free. So it's definitely worth it for the price.
Yeah, I mean it's worth $0.
Yeah.
I don't mean that seriously.
Wow, that's good. All right, so yeah, go watch Luca with the kids. They'll enjoy it.
No, your kids will definitely like it. It's probably not. It's not a movie that adults are gonna love. Well, I don't know. The critics are at 89% over here, so adults that are paid the right amount of money like it.
We've learned over the years not to trust the critics on, especially not on the.
Which is a great segue to our next box office.
Yeah. Like you said, this is a mouthful. Pun intended because of Salma Hayek. It's The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
No one is ever going to get that title right without reading it like you just did.
Yeah, I had to slow down a second. Because I even left out the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
It's too many apostrophes. I don't know what's happening there. Who's what's my uncle's John's cousin's sister? Who knows what's happening here.
Yep. I am your uncle's father's cousin's sister's former roommate. What's that make? Absolutely nothing. Baseball score for you. So now, all right, Eric, did you see the first one, The Hitman's Bodyguard?
No, I did not, sir.
Watch it. It's good. So
what's Ryan Reynolds? It can't be that bad. Is Samuel L. Jackson the lead in that one as well?
They're co-leads. So basically, the story is, without spoiling anything, Ryan Reynolds is a bodyguard, right? And he's think like tactics of like Liam Neeson and Taken, kind of like he can shoot, fight, all this shit, right? And Samuel Jackson is an assassin, so he's a hitman. Well, something happens where they catch Samuel Jackson, and he's got to testify in court. So they hire Ryan Reynolds to guard him on his way to wherever he's going, to the court. And that's what the whole movie is, because people are trying to kill him and whatever. And it's the two of them going back and forth. And they've got some history with each other that you learn throughout the movie. And throughout the movie, you learn that Samuel Jackson has a wife, played by Salma Hayek, who, yeah, she's on my list. I love that woman. Every time I see her, I just stop. I'm like, yep, okay. I don't know what the hell's going on right now, but I'm watching this. So she's in it, and she looks fine as hell, as always. Well, that I would have to go back and look to when it was released, because it was a couple of years back, and what the reviews were for that. But I thought it did really, really good. And now they've got a sequel, The Hitman's Wife Bodyguard. And I guess it's Ryan Reynolds guarding Salma Hayek, according to the trailer. I don't know exactly what the rest of the storyline is going to be, but it's going to be basically the same shit. And it's going to have the three of them doing random shit while people are trying to kill them. But it's the last one was really good. So, and it's Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. So, I mean, the two of them played off each other really well in the last one. So I'm looking forward to this one. And that came out June 16th. I have not watched it yet. But like you said, going back to the ratings, it's got a 43% on the tomato meter, but a 67% audience score. Which for a sequel, audience score, not bad. Not great, but not bad.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I got the numbers here if you want them. The very first one, or not the very first one, the first one was 21.6 million opening weekend and did 176 million overall.
all right.
Now this one opened at 11.5 and it did 17 million on the 5-day. So it's trailing, but considering it's post-COVID, and the theaters are barely open, I think those might actually be pretty decent numbers. The first movie made 10 million on the second weekend it was open, so it's at least beat that.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I mean, for something that's post-COVID, and this is going to be a really weird year because you never know how good something could do in a regular world. Because now everything is starting to open, right? Like we said. But you don't know, okay, let's say if everybody was comfortable going to the movie theaters, would this be double? Because, you know what I mean? Or some of these numbers because some people are afraid to go to the theaters and others aren't. Like, I don't give a shit. I'll go to the theater. Yeah, I'm done. I mean, plus I'm vaccinated anyway, so whatever. I got to go back to my regular life, so I'll go to a theater and I'll watch whatever. I just haven't yet, because me, you, and Paul were planning on let's decide what's going to be the movie that takes us out of our house, and we figured out maybe Black Widow. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, I think this might have done a little bit better had COVID never happened, but it's hard to tell because it is a sequel too. So it's kind of, but again, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to find a way to stream it, even if I got to pay a few bucks for it. I might pay for this one just to watch it because, like I said, I really enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed the first one a lot more than I thought I was going to. It was done really well. And last but not least, for box office, I'm assuming you don't really have too much to say about that one since you didn't even see the first one.
No, I don't. I'm afraid.
Okay. I don't think you've got too much to say about this next one either. Except to make fun of it.
Yeah, you're on number 9. I'm on number 3, bro.
Yeah, so F9, Fast and Furious 9 drops this weekend. And I put in the notes here, am I the only one who's going to watch this? Probably. And we've discussed them at work too, because I had a friend at work that was just like you. He stopped after the third one. He was like, I'm done. I can't. And I get that. But at some point, I don't know if it's my love of superhero movies or what it is. I've got something in me that I can, like, when I'm watching these movies, specifically Fast and Furious, I can, like, once it started to, like, 4 or whatever it was, where Dom, like, leapt from one bridge to another and saved Letty by catching her in midair and slamming into a car, I was like, okay, well, I know I can shut my brain off. Don't need this thing anymore. My wife would say I never use it, but whatever. So I know that. And I know that going into all of these, it's just going to be so... It should be called Fast and Furious and fucking Beyond Belief. That should be called.
No, the title should have 9 F words in it, because they should be required, if they're going to make another movie, to figure out at least that many F words in the title.
That's right.
And you can't cheat and use the 4-letter one.
Yeah. The Fast and the Furious, and are you fucking kidding? No. Can you believe we finally got to this one? Wait until 10. So, yeah, this one trailer has been out for quite a while. I guess John Cena plays Dominic Toretto's brother. Dominic Toretto is played by Vin Diesel. So John Cena plays his brother. I forget what the hell his name is in the movie. I think he says it once in the trailer. But you've never heard of this brother, which is really ironic because there's also some shot in there, and I don't think they say it in the trailer, but what's her name? Dame Helen Mirren, the older actress.
Yeah.
You know her from things like Red and stuff like that. Awesome actress. She's in there at one point in a car with Vin Diesel, Dom, and she's driving and basically laughing at him because she's making him nervous. But I think that's supposed to be his mother. And I don't remember if they actually say that or not in the trailer, but I got a vibe that that was supposed to be his mother. So you meet his mother and his brother in this movie, which is funny to me because we are 9 movies into a series starring the main character that is constantly talking about family. Constantly. He's always talking about family, and the only family you know is his sister up until now. So what the fuck is going on? You know, like they just kind of like pulled something out of their ass and ran with it. But Cena's been doing better and better for me every time I see him, so I'll give him, I'll give him a shot. We'll see how he does in this one, because he's going to be coming up here in another discussion point. But I don't know. Yeah, like I said, like I like them. I enjoy them. I don't have to think about them. They're gonna get crazy. They're gonna get stupid. People are gonna be doing superhuman shit, but they're not superhuman. And fine, whatever. Whatever. It's basically like me at 9 playing with my Matchbox cars and pretending there are little heroes in them, and they're doing all shit and whatever. And that's what these movies are, and I'm okay with it. So. I'm going to watch it at some point. I don't know if I'm going to get to it this weekend. Yeah, I got a lot of shit going on.
All right.
How about you? You got about like 6 to catch up on it.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna take a moment here. Let's improv a little because it's not in our script, but the truth is we have spent a lot of time in these Geekly Weeklies that we kind of gave up on because of lack of news and the dates for everything kind of shifting. But at this point, it seems like that bullshit is over. And there's actually set dates for movies. They're actually coming out and playing in the theaters. So maybe it's worth talking just for a few minutes about what is coming up and what actually has set dates at this point. And so you're on the first one right now talking about Fast and Furious 9, Fast Saga. So that comes out tomorrow. But then not
that one, sorry. Before we get into the rest of the shit, last note on the Fast 9, it already released in China $275 million.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah.
But they love the car drifting there. So
yeah, they love that shit.
Dumb. So
glad you laughed over my racist character.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I covered it up. We'll see how it turns out in post-production.
All right, so release dates.
So I'm going to skip over everything that's not even mildly interesting. 9th of July, Black Widow, which we may talk about later.
Yeah, well, we don't have any of the trailers on there. I know they dropped a few, but because it's coming out in a couple of weeks, that might be the one that gets us into the theater. We were just talking about that in our messaging. But yeah. I'm down for it. And like I said, I know Heather said she can get the Cinemark over on International for $200 for 20 of us, which is a good deal. We can look to see if there's anything closer, like Sinopolis or whatever.
Sinopolis is $250, but you have to wait till 1 week prior to book it.
Okay, see, yeah, we can get Cinemark like right now, so we might have to just go that route. All right, so yeah, so we're probably going to wind up going to see Black Widow in theaters. That'll be my first one.
Okay, and then a week after that, 16 July, you have the Space Jam sequel. Is that what we're calling it?
Sequel, reboot, sure, both. It's a requel.
Yeah, requel.
Requel. In fact, I just saw the animation trailers link that I sent you guys in our thing. Mm-hmm. I sent it to Heather too, and she was showing it to Noah, so they were watching all of them, and that one's in there. And at first, I thought, okay, this is from the first trailer I saw. I took it as, okay, LeBron goes to Toontown or whatever and becomes a cartoon, and that's it. But it's not quite, because he does that, but then there's another part in this new trailer where the Toons come back to Earth with him. It's like Don Cheadle plays some character that's in the computer that kidnaps LeBron's kid and whatever. So that's how the whole Space Jam basketball game starts with them, right? They got to Monstars, which are a new version of the old team, and when they come back to Earth to play the game, all the Looney Tunes become like CGI. You know, like think like when Homer became 3D, but much better. You know, like they look real life cartoons. You know, so it's kind of interesting. It looks pretty. It actually. That trailer got my interest, where before I was just like, whatever. That trailer was actually like, yeah, all right, I'll watch it with Noah because he's going to watch it anyway. So
they definitely have a like Sonic the Hedgehog sort of 3D vibe to them.
That's what they look like, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks like a requel. So it's what it looks like. It's going to be this generation's Space Jam, so it'll be fine.
So skip a week and mow your lawn, and then we get to July 23rd, and the Snake Eyes movie comes out. We don't have to talk about it a lot now because we're going to talk about it in a few, but that looks good. Better than I imagined, actually.
Yeah, I was when they first announced it, I was very excited. We'll get into more of that when we talk about the trailer.
All right. Another week goes by. You have 30th of July, Jungle Cruise, based on the Disney ride with what's his nuts?
Dwayne Johnson.
Thank you.
What's her tits?
Can you say that?
I don't know. Hey, why not?
The censors are listening.
What's his nuts? What's her tits?
Emily Blunt.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, she's hot. Yeah, the two of them are in it, and yeah, it's all based on the Jungle Cruise ride. Whether or not I want to watch this, I'm going to watch it because Heather wants to watch it. You know, she loves all things Disney. She loves all old school Disney shit, and she loves Dwayne Johnson. So there you go. I'm watching this movie.
All right, one more week. We're going to have so many fucking things to watch that we're not even going to get through half of them. I can guarantee it. Because it's like, at this point with all the delays, it is literally week after week after week after week. So one more week goes by.
The year we had.
What's that?
Which is crazy after the year we had.
Yeah, exactly. 1 week more goes by. We're on August 6th, and we have the Suicide Squad reboot-ish thing happening.
Yep. And we've got a trailer for that, so we'll talk about that more later.
Yep. One more.
I'm excited for that one.
Oh, yeah. One more week goes by. We're on to August 13th, and the Free Guy that we've been waiting for with Ryan Reynolds and the video game character, that'll be released finally. Then another week on 20 August, Paw Patrol the movie. I know you want to see that. I'm just fucking with you. No, seriously though. 2 weeks later, 27 August, Candyman, the Candyman reboot. That's Jordan Peele's doing. Was Jordan Peele? It was Jordan Peele, right?
Yeah.
That one will be out.
Good too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot happening. I'm just gonna blow through them. We don't have to talk about them anymore, so we don't waste too much time. But 3rd of September is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ring, 10 Rings. Then 24th of September is Venom: Let There Be Carnage, which we're going to talk about soon. A week after that, 1 October, is that Dune movie that was supposed to release last year at about the same damn time. I think it was in December it was supposed to release. And then there's another James Bond sequel. No, not sequel. Another James Bond film coming 8 October. And then you got a Halloween's, what is that, the 4th one in the series, 5th one in the series? Who the fuck knows? 15 October?
Yeah, like Halloween Kills or something like that.
Yeah, Halloween Kills. That's right.
It'll be the second one since the last. It's a sequel to the last one, but that was a sequel to Halloween 1.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All the
yeah. They decided to undo part of the timeline and just go off what people loved. It doesn't matter. But
we'll talk about it more when we get closer.
Yeah, 2 weeks later from that, 5th of November, we have Eternals coming out. And then a week after that, we have the Ghostbusters Afterlife. That should have already been out. And then a week after that, November 19th, you have Top Gun Maverick, which we were also waiting for. And then
Ghostbusters, that was another one of the trailers that was in that little package.
Yeah.
There were 2 little trailers in there. It was the main trailer, and there was a little teaser trailer in there with Paul Rudd and a bunch of mini Stay Puft guys. That was funny as hell. But after that, Heather was like, "No one's gonna watch Ghostbusters because he hasn't watched it yet, and we gotta get ready for this movie." So when we took our bathroom break, as I was walking out, I hear something, and I was like, I look over, the 2 of them on the couch, and I distinctly heard Rick Moranis. And I look over, and they're watching Ghostbusters. I said, "All right, good." So he's already got the first one down.
Yeah. So this will be your only break. You go ahead a month from that, and you're at 17 December, Spider-Man No Way Home. And then the week following that is The Matrix 4. And then I'm not going to go into next year, but there's more that we haven't caught up on yet. What?
It's been very quiet. You haven't heard too much about it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's seriously, there's, what is there at this point? About 25 weeks left in the year. And there's like 18 movies in that time.
Yeah. All the shit that we want to see. So yeah, we're gonna, this podcast is about to like blow up again. We're going to be recording 2 days a week. Be careful. They're on the part with the Stay Puft out here in a bit. Yeah. Heather laughed. She was like, "So, now that remember he's 9. Like when he's watching a movie that he's like actually into, and he's paying attention to every word." And she's like, you get to a scene like where she's laying on the bed possessed, and Megman comes in. Are
you the gatekeeper, keymaster?
And she's like, "Do you want this body? I want you to decide whatever." And he's like, "You sound awful crowded in there." So it is. She's like, "He's got questions." I laughed. I'm like, "Well, I guess we're gonna have to start having a conversation with him." When a doctor and a possessed woman really like each other.
That's your birds and the bees at your house, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. It's gonna be interesting. He's starting to question things now. It's gonna be great.
I did the math while you were gone, by the way. It's 26 weeks left in the year and 19 movies we want to see in that time frame.
Wow.
That's not going to happen, by the way, but
it's going to be a very crowded year. If they keep a few of these with the streaming thing, I'll be okay. Even if I got to pay for a couple of them. Just running back and forth to the movies with my schedule is going to be a pain in the ass. But if I can turn it on at home and buy it, I might be able to squeeze all of them in. So, all right, trailers. You ready for this shit?
Mostly.
So a bunch of these trailers have released for quite a while, so a lot of you have seen them already. But we're going to talk about them anyway because we're late. So the first one we're going to talk about, we mentioned earlier, is Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Now, this trailer dropped out of the blue a couple weeks ago. And it's one of those like where a few of them, like sometimes like because we're on these websites or whatever, we know that there's a trailer coming, or we hear hints of it. I didn't hear anything about this one, and all of a sudden it was there, and so I jumped on immediately and watched it. This trailer's got me hooked. If you want to go back to Venom, the original Venom movie with Tom Hardy, where he plays Eddie Brock, gets with the symbiote. We questioned how good it could be without a Spider-Man in it because they weren't doing Spider-Man. Because and then you go back to the comic roots and everything. And overall, I think we all agreed that for a Venom movie without Spider-Man, it was really good. I would have rather have seen it with Spider-Man in it, but whatever. It's really good for what it was, right? This trailer had me rolling. Like you see how they've bonded further since the last movie. Like it opens up and Eddie's just kind of standing around his kitchen, and the symbiote is trying to cook breakfast, and it's singing along with the music and the thing. And it makes him his breakfast. It slams him into the chair, throws the breakfast in front of him, and it's like yum. And it just had me tickled. I was like, this movie is gonna be funny. And then they kind of go through some more shit with the symbiote and him around town. That's where you get. I mentioned it in another episode when he walks into the little shop with the Asian woman, and he says hi to her, and then Venom says hi to her. She says hi to Venom. Venom's tendril fixes a Newsweek magazine, and Stan Lee is on the cover. He adjusts it so it's up nice. Shows you like how much he loves Stan Lee. There you go. And then there's a whole bunch of shit in there that's funny, and they're really leaning into the humor side of Venom, which is cool because he says a lot of funny shit in the comics, like just out of the blue, like shit that you wouldn't think because he's got no filter, And then you've got the flip side of it where Woody Harrelson is going to play Cletus Cassidy, aka Carnage. And you get a fleeting glimpse of him in this trailer.
Yeah.
Not even fleeting, like you get a pretty clear shot of Carnage with all his little tendrils, like with the sharp edges and everything. It looks good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I think when we talked about original Venom that to me, Venom is my favorite anti-hero of all. I should have worn my Venom shirt tonight. Well, I guess we're not on video. Who cares? He's my favorite anti-hero, but I said before, like it's hard to imagine a Venom without Spider-Man because I mean that's half of his being is his hate for Spider-Man or for Peter Parker or whatever.
It's what makes the two of them bond is their mutual hatred for Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Exactly, and so I mean, like you said, the first movie is still good despite that, I guess. But I wasn't sure quite how they were going to roll into the Carnage thing, and it seems like at least in the trailer they're not bothering to explain it, how they get there.
Nope, I don't know that they're going to explain it much, but I think they're going to do at least similar to. It looks like he might be going for an interview because he's still doing the reporter thing.
Yeah,
and maybe. Instead of like in the comics where he was in jail and they were cellmates, and the symbiote comes to bust him out and leaves a spawn behind, maybe the symbiote still leaves a spawn behind after they're in there talking to him or whatever. I can see that. I can see that happening. I can see them kind of like playing it in their universe. But on your note though of like how we all discussed how they're gonna do it without Spider-Man. I watched it a second time, and between that and reading a couple of articles, a news article about it because they were talking about the new movie, brought something to my attention that I appreciated on the second watch. When you take Spider-Man out of it, while that's an integral part of the character that we all love, it gives you it gives you a different story, but it gives you a really good look at a bond between Eddie and the symbiote. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a really good look, and Tom Hardy sort of plays it really well too. Tom Hardy versus Tom Hardy, right?
It is, and it's him doing like where every other hero has that moment where like they're all ripped and ready to go and clean cut and clean. He is never that throughout this movie at all. He looks sick. He looks tired. He's hearing voices. He's not doing well throughout this movie at all, but he still does the right thing. So I really like this version of the character, in spite of myself. When we went into it, I did not want to like it. I remember that, and I like this a lot. And this trailer has me on board even more than I was before. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm with you big time. I mean, I wasn't even on board all that much before, but this looks exciting. I like I don't think they played up the banter between between Brock and Venom enough in the first movie. And it seems like in this one, that's gonna be like a running in your face theme. Like the whole opening, well, not opening scene, but opening part of the trailer where he's making a breakfast and shit. The tendrils are like all over, like, bah, here you go.
And he's like, it's shit breakfast, like he burnt everything, whatever. But he's all, it looks good.
Yeah, I really like that.
And then when they walk into the store and she says, what's she telling him? First she says, hi, Eddie. He says, hi, Mrs. Chow. Hi, Venom. So like she knows he's got Venom, like because she saw it at the end of the. So she says hi, and he greets her in Cantonese. Then they're walking, and she says something like, "Oh, the ding dongs weren't on the last shipment." Some kind of pastry, a cake. It's like a host. Ding dongs, ring dings, something was not on the last shipment. And Venom's like, "What? I will eat Mrs. Chen." You're not going to eat Mrs. Chen. She's like, "What?" He's like, nothing. Because she can't hear Venom. It's funny. Yeah. He's like, he's so easy. He's easily eager to just eat somebody, but he's like, you're not going to eat anybody. Stop it. That, like you said, the banter between the two of them is amazing. And then something else that really keyed me up on this trailer.
Well, this is one of the. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you too much. No, but I mean, this is something that they had in the comics in the 90s. Venom had an obsession with chocolate. He liked chocolate a lot. Yeah. And the way they explained it in the comics, I think, was that there was some chemical compound in chocolate that also existed in brains.
Yeah.
And so if he could eat one or the other, he was good. But eating chocolate kept him from eating brains. I think the pastry that she mentions when he goes in there is something with chocolate in it.
Yeah, it is.
And they're playing up on that comic trope thing.
There is another. I don't know if it was in the first one or if it was in the trailer. Venom like loses his shit, and it's a really funny moment because like Eddie goes shopping or whatever, and Venom's like, I think it's in the trailer because Venom's like, I told you specifically, or he goes, I told you like so many fucking times to get tater tots. He goes, there are no tater tots, and he says it like tater tots, like because he's an alien, so he's fucking up English. But the way he loses his shit over tater tots and ring dings, it's amazing. But the shot that I was about to talk about was it's very similar to something that happened in the comic, where they've got Cassidy down on the table, and I think this one that they're going to kill him, and you see is right before you actually see the shot of the carnage, but you see him say something, and he smiles, and his veins are like rippling, because while the Venom symbiote is a little bit different in this movie, where like you don't really see where it is. In the comics, it's just part like of his clothes or whatever. The Carnage symbiote lives inside of Cassidy's blood. So all he's got to do is bleed a little bit, and it comes out. And in the comics, they played a lot with him doing little things to make himself bleed just to get it out. And when you see that, like his skin rippling, like all his veins moving, I was like, oh shit. So it looks like they're like leaning into that too, which is gonna be cool. So I'm looking forward to this one. And what did we say this releases?
It's 24 September.
Damn it. I was getting there. All right, so you want to take the next one?
What is the next one? Oh, Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. So a new trailer dropped on that. Huh?
I said you got the same fucking set list in front of you. So this is like what, the second trailer for this?
Yeah, it might be. No, it's the second trailer. It's the second trailer. You're right. And so in the first, yeah, and in the first trailer, there's no talking or anything, and so I'm just gonna spoil the trailer right away. But Snake Eyes talks.
Yeah, a lot.
So they're not gonna follow the cartoon G.I. Joe Snake Eyes.
No. And I think we can do maybe all right, when the Snake Eyes release?
Snake Eyes is actually sooner. It is 23 July.
All right, maybe we might have to do a character spotlight on Snake Eyes, just because he was like one of my favorite characters growing up, and it would be a fun discussion because some fans have lost their shit over this. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, about him talking? Yeah, oh for sure.
That just about him being Asian American.
Oh well, yeah, okay.
Because in the comics, he's a white blonde guy in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And at first, when I first saw him, I was like, "What the fuck is?" Yeah, you know, I first saw the first picture, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I thought, because we've had our conversations about race and gender swapping stuff and whatever, and I was like, "Here we go. What are we doing here, right?" But when I read it, I read about the actor too. He's an Asian American and he's a martial artist, whatever. But then the character is basically he's the same, right? Like as far as like he and Storm Shadow, Tommy, have a relationship together somehow in this movie. Does not look like they serve in war together, but they know each other. So I won't spoil that much. But as far as him being played by an Asian American, I get over it within about 5 minutes once I actually like watched the trailer and then read. I was like, so like for that, because there are a lot of fans that have lost their minds that he's not this blonde white guy. And I get it because he is a very important character to G.I. Joe. However, the Vietnam War was also decades ago. So even if they update the storyline and make it like the Middle East, right, Desert Storm, whatever, right? The fact is, he's still an outsider. The whole thing is Snake Eyes. The key to Snake Eyes is he's an outsider to the world he's about to join, and he still is. When you're reading this or when you watch this trailer, you can see it more here. You hear him compared to Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow's got a thick Japanese accent where this guy doesn't. He's got an American accent, wherever the fuck he's from, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it did not like. While there are some hills I'll die on with specific characters here and there being changed or whatever, this is not one of them. And he is one of my favorite characters from when I was like 7 all the way up to now. So you're talking like 39 fucking years of watching and reading and shit. This is not something that's a big deal. And we'll get more into it in the character spotlight.
In all of the original G.I. Joe series, how often did you even see him outside of his full suit?
Right, and that's the thing. You only, for the first so long, you had no idea. He was just mysterious. So he could have been anybody, and that was on purpose because he was like you. That's why he was so many people's favorite character. Because one, he was cool, he was badass, but two, he was masked, so you could be him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so now they've changed it up a little bit. But for me, it quickly became like at first I was like, because I was afraid it was going to be like the thing that we complain about, where they lean hard, they concentrate too much on getting rid of anything white, and you know, and just like social justice, that kind of thing. But it's not that. They just got, from what I can see, they got the best guy for the role. He can do all the moves. He can act in the trailer. So I was over it in about 5 minutes. As soon as I looked into it, I was done. I was like, yeah, I'm good with it. He's fine. He's an American. He's just an Asian American as opposed to a Caucasian American. He's fine. So we'll get it more into it in the character spotlight. But all right, so the trailer, yes, he talked a lot, which is funny because you never hear him talk.
Yeah, never.
One time in the comics, I saw him talk, and he said one word, "you." He was calling somebody, and it's not that he can't talk; it's just that he's so disfigured from an accident that it hurts him to talk, so he never talks. So there's that. But the trailer looks good.
I'm with you.
A lot more in this trailer than you did the last one. The last one was very quick. You see a little bit of here and there, and you kind of get the idea. Like you see, I'm going to mispronounce it, but the Arashaki symbol, the 6 lines, unbroken, broken, unbroken, broken. It's their symbol for their clan.
Mm-hmm.
You see that in that thing, so right away, like, okay, we're doing Snake Eyes. And he does some fighting with a sword and this and that, whatever. But this one, they give you a little bit of background where, he and Storm Shadow are, looks like working a back room for the mafia or some shit. And it looks like Snake Eyes is in trouble, but it turns out Storm Shadow is in trouble with the boss. And Snake Eyes saves him. So Storm Shadow decides to take him home with him to Japan and show him, the ways of the clan. And you see a brief shot of what I can only correctly assume is Scarlet. Because you see there's a redhead running around. If there's a redhead running around in anything G.I. Joe, it's Scarlet. And then you see the Baroness. Because they talk about Cobra. So Cobra is there too. So, yeah. What did you think? What did you think of the trailer?
I think it actually looks awesome, dude. I mean, it's very different than the little sneak peek thing before, but I'm not mad that he's talking, and I like the trailer is action packed, like really action packed, and hopefully that is not just them borrowing sort of the scenes that are interesting out of the movie,
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not that. I'm hoping this is a brief glimpse of what we're going to get throughout the entire movie.
I think so, though. I mean, I think they've almost made it out to be sort of like a modernized, exiled samurai kind of thing that's going on.
Yeah, the outsider who joins a clan and finds his place and carries on their ways. There's a shot in there where he leans out of a car and he's got the signature Snake Eyes Uzi. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be really, really good. Like you said, I don't care about him talking. I've got a feeling that by the end of this movie, he ain't going to be talking. I think they're going to do that accident in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of the trailer, he is fully suited. You only see his eyes and nothing else, and then he puts the visor down.
In the cartoon is when they first started that little slotted visor thing that he was wearing, right? Because the very first figure, and in the comics, he had like goggles, and he was a commando. Then they started getting into the ninja shit, like throughout the comics, and then they explained the backstory of Storm Shadow. They updated his costume, and he had this lined, slotted, triangular visor thing, right? Here, you see him put on a mask / helmet type of thing to get on a motorcycle, and he taps the side of it, and the visor slides down. Technology, right?
Yeah.
But it was a cool way, for me, it was a really cool way to explain what that is or how it works.
Yeah, well,
the cartoon, you're like, how the fuck does that even work?
Yeah, and slightly earlier in the trailer, they had shown, it was like there was a progression towards it or something, because there was like somebody on a motorcycle with an armored suit, but they had a regular bike helmet. I'm pretty sure that was him. Was that him?
I think it was him.
Yeah. It feels like there was a progression towards it until you get to, whatever it is. It's about maybe 10 seconds before the end of the trailer. Yeah. And then you see him in the real armor that you're expecting with a helmet. His eyes are exposed. He hits the button, it goes down. And then 2 seconds later, you see that armored person, or whatever, not armored, but you know what I mean, the ninja suit on a bike racing off, right? So it's like they held it till the end, but
yeah, but they show you how the visor works, and it looks cool.
Yeah, well, and that he's gonna end up there by the end of the movie, I think, is what the right, because he looks completely normal Asian dude in the beginning, and there's sort of a progression in the trailer till he ends with the snake eyes from the original cartoon.
Right. Trailer 3 for the Suicide Squad. So this is James Gunn's Suicide Squad with Miss Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie.
With fucking everybody. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, I was getting there. This is, like we talked, kind of a soft reboot. I don't know if they're even going to reference the first one. The original one was Suicide Squad. This is the Suicide Squad, if I remember correctly. Or vice versa. Either way.
Yeah, no, this one is the Suicide Squad, yes.
But it's basically the same exact concept as far as gathering a team of villains.
Yeah, this trailer 3, actually, I watched it and I'm like, am I watching the trailer for the right movie? And if it wasn't for Idris Elba being there, I'd have been like, wait a minute. Have I heard this before?
Yeah, it was almost the same exact movie. But you've got, and we talked about it a lot before. I'm sure we'll talk about it right before it comes out. You've got multiple different characters in here that the only same ones I think are Harley Quinn, the guy who plays the soldier, I think is the same one. Like their military counterpart. The woman who plays Amanda Waller, I think is the same. And Captain Boomerang. That guy is the same one.
Yeah, Jai Courtney, I think is his name.
Yeah, him. He's the same one. Outside of that, it's not even the same DC characters being played by different people, although you would have thought that with Idris Elba, because it's basically the same thing. But instead of Deadshot, it's
Bloodsport.
Yeah. So essentially the same character. It's kind of like, when DC's got like multiple versions of, or even Marvel's got multiple versions of Captain America and this, that. Same thing. They've got a lot of the similar characters, and they do that here. But instead of Killer Croc, you've got King Shark, who is hilarious in these trailers.
And voiced by Sylvester Stallone.
I missed that. Holy shit, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Awesome. Now I'm even more in. You got John Cena playing Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And just in these trailers alone, again, like I said, John Cena's growing on me more and more. I like him as a person. He's a cartoon in wrestling, but I like him as a person because he cares about kids and he does a lot of that kind of Make-A-Wish shit, whatever. He just seems like a genuinely good dude, right? Similar to The Rock, but not quite on Dwayne Johnson's level, right? But he's slowly getting there. The last few movies I've seen him in have been good. These trailers, he's been killing it. It wasn't this one, but I think it was the second trailer where they're running through the woods and he says something about defending freedom or whatever. And they were like, well, what if it was dicks or something? And he said, I would run face first through a field of dicks just for freedom. Or some shit like that. Do you remember that? And I was dying because he says it so straight-laced. You're like, wow. He was all in on this character. He looks really good in this one. They've got Weasel, which that was the comedic part of this trailer, where everybody's trying to figure out what the fuck it is. They're like, is it a dog? What the fuck is it? It's got rabies? They're like, relax, it's a weasel. He's just sitting there next to him, like, "Rah." He's like that Rocket Raccoon, but I haven't heard him say anything, so I don't even know if he talks. But overall,
yeah. So you know what's ironic about him? It's played by Sean Gunn, who is a writer for all the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He was also a writer for Avengers Infinity War.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he played one of the Ravagers in Guardians. He plays the one that picks up Yondu's arrow at the end of the second Guardians. So this is James Gunn doing Suicide Squad, which is funny because we said before when he took it over, or when he went over there after the whole falling out with Disney, he went to Warner Brothers and they hired him for this, which is kind of like a fuck you to Disney. And then right as he was making this, Disney was like, okay, we fucked up and we admit it, which is unheard of, and they took him back. But we all joked that this is basically just going to be Guardians of the Galaxy in DC. And it is, but it isn't. It's like, it looks really cool. It looks like a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm actually, in so much as I can be for anything DC related, I'm kind of excited.
So, obviously, we're going to have to drop all these trailers on the website so you guys can watch them. But you have to let us know if you're as excited as I am for this movie. All right, you got anything else on this one?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, so moving on to something that I saw briefly an article about, and then I ignored it. And then the trailer dropped while we were watching something on Netflix the other day. And Heather was like, this looks good. Tomorrow War. So it's got Chris Pratt and a couple other people I recognize in the trailer, and I can't remember who. But essentially, it's...
Well, so Chris Pratt, Yvonne Strahovski. She was the wife in Handmaid's Tale. If you watch that on Hulu, the wife of the rich guy or whatever. And then J.K. Simmons, who plays J. Jonas. Help me.
J. Jonas Jameson.
Yeah, thanks, J. Jonas Jameson. And so
ironically played Commissioner Gordon too.
Yes. So one of another very few people to cross over between the Marvel and well, this one isn't DC, but
no, but he's there.
Crossing over into the other stuff we talk about.
Yeah, so essentially it looks like they're fighting aliens, and it just you got to watch the trailer because it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's aliens meets time travel movie. Yeah. Plus lots of action. I don't know.
yeah, I think you just nailed it. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. It looks really good.
I agree with you.
The special effects look really good. I love Chris Pratt. So, yeah, I'm all in on this one. We're going to watch this next week. All right.
Where is this one? How is this one releasing? I don't even know how that one was releasing.
Netflix.
Yep. All right.
July 2nd.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you stuck it in here. Okay.
4th of July. I did it. All right. So moving on to something that...
It is quite literally the only thing you put a date on.
I know. Look, I'm not you. You are so detail-oriented when it comes to these things. I try my best, but there's no master. But look, I do the overall creation, and you tweak it so that it looks good. What can I say? All right, now moving on to something that I am so stoked for. Because I want to say, 82? And then a reboot in the 2000s, but 82, so 82, 92, 2002, 12, almost 40 fucking years, 30 years later. Masters of the Universe, Revelation, is being brought to you by Kevin Smith. This is a reboot, but not quite, of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from the 80s. The original cartoon dropped around like 81, 82. And while it was 80s camp shit, it was one of the biggest toy lines slash cartoons of my youth. Like I had all of these toys, and now that he is continuing that storyline, like where the '80s storyline left off, he's picking it up. And he says there's an interview too that I'm going to find, and I'll drop it on our website after we drop all these trailers. So let's talk about the trailer first. I'll get into that. The trailer drops, and it shows you kind of an updated animation style from the 80s cartoon, but very recognizable to the 80s. You know, color palette, kind of the style of armor, everything. Where
Yeah.
back when they did it in 2000, because it was one that they did like in the 90s where like he was in space fighting Skeletor, and it was stupid. And they got rid of that real quick. Then they redid it like I want to say like I don't know 2011 or some shit like that. They rebooted it and they actually told the story of how Skeletor became Skeletor. He was actually King Randor's brother, and they showed the whole thing where like he tries to kill Randor with acid, and the acid splashes back and makes him Skeletor, and he gets saved by dark magic, yada yada, whatever. That series was really cool, and I was enjoying that one, and then that went away. So this now, Kevin Smith, he even said it like is one of those things where like he's known for making movies about people standing in front of a mall, So if they came to him, they talked to him about like trying to like make something from his childhood, whatever. He was always afraid, but as soon as somebody brought him Masters of the Universe and said, "Do you want to try and tackle this?" He said, "Holy shit, yeah, I've got ideas." And he said this is probably in the top 5 all-time favorite things he's made. And he's afraid if they want him to come back for a season 2 because he doesn't know if he's going to be able to make it live up to the season 1 that he did. But that's coming out end of next month, 1 month from now. They dropped the trailer, and you quickly see like they do a quick montage of like the sorcerers talking about Skeletor trying to get the Gray Skull, and then Skeletor says, "Bring out your champion." And did you catch immediately who it is? Mark Hamill.
Oh, you mean the voice? Oh yeah.
Skeletor is Mark Hamill.
Yes.
And he says, "Bring out your champion." And it sounds very similar to his Joker voice, but it Skeletor so well.
Well, there's a few people you ought to recognize in this. Tila, did that?
Trying to think.
Did that ring any bells?
No.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, okay, yeah, duh. But in the rest of the trailer, as soon as he says that, the rest of the trailer goes into what's the song? Holding Out for a Hero.
Yeah. I wanna be a hero.
Yeah. Holding Out for the Hero at the end of the night. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the trailer, the song to the trailer. And they show a whole bunch of like little images from the cartoon. And it looks amazing. So in Kevin Smith's interview that he did after the trailer release, I'll find that link and I'll drop it on our website. He quickly talks about, they play the trailer and then he talks about how they came to him and he was like, absolutely, I want to make this. Then he says, this is made for fans of the 80s cartoon. So there's a lot of the stuff like, nostalgia is huge right now. And all the stuff that he grew up with is coming back and it's big. And this is something that hasn't been done yet. So he wanted to jump on this. And he said in the very beginning of it, it picks up after the cartoon left off. But in the very beginning of this, he says it maintains that innocence of the 80s cartoon. But then something happens and it ramps up into something that's more mature for all those fans that have grown up and are now like us in their 40s. And, he's like, I'm 50. So he's like, I wanted to make something a little bit more for guys like me that grew up with this, but I'm more mature now. So something happens in there, and the story gets a little bit darker, more adult, but not like, rated R bullshit, whatever. It's still He-Man, but it's more mature. So I'm really on board for this one.
I'm not too much into animated stuff, and I gotta say, watching this, the difference in frame rate and resolution, like seeing that trailer versus the cartoons, was actually a little jarring for me. I was looking at it like, man, they really look like paper cutouts or something. But that said, it does look really cool, and I think I will probably watch it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch this one. I am waiting for next month very impatiently, and this is the main reason. This right here. Once I found out it was coming out in the July 20s timeframe, I was stoked. So I know it's coming soon, and I can't wait. So the last trailer that we have to talk about isn't quite a trailer, but now did that link work when I showed it to you?
The one in the the one in the lineup? Yeah.
Okay. So basically what happened was Sony dropped on their Twitter account really quick. They dropped just it was in other countries. It wasn't in America. But everybody jumped on it because they dropped the Spider-Man No Way Home title card, right? And it sits there for a minute, and you hear a voiceover say, like in Spanish, Spider-Man, and then whatever No Way Home would be in Spanish. And then it's just the title card, and that's it. But at the last second, right before the thing turns to black, the Spider-Man part glitches. And it's the same glitch from the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So all this talk that we've had about the multiple villains from different Spider-Man versions, Sam Raimi, Amazing Spider-Man, yada yada, leading into, this is going to lead into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. All these theories that we've had, that quick little teaser to me was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is what we're doing. Like this is it was like you might as well have hit the fans over the head with a sledgehammer. That little glitch was all they needed, and then they took it down. Like you can't find it. I think people who have got it saved, that's how I found it, but I couldn't find it on Twitter anymore. It was gone. It was up for like a day, and then it was gone. So it was just a quick little tease, just to kind of let the fans know it's coming. Get ready for next month, or get ready for the end of the year. But yeah, it's definitely, it gave you that feel of Into the Spider-Verse, multiverse type of shit. So just get ready, because I think this one's going to be a hell of a ride. And that was it. That was all that was on there. But it bared mentioning just because of what it did right at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, all right. You got anything else?
No, sir.
All right. I guess we'll cut this one and we'll go on to Loki. All right. Well, hit us up. Let us know what you think of all this information that we dropped on you over the last like 2 freaking hours. This one took forever because there's been nothing to talk about, and then all of a sudden there's everything to talk about. So I'm glad we're back with the Geekly Weekly. Hit us up. Let us know what you think of all this information. Like, subscribe, ring a bell. Drop a line at whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll find another video to drop on Patreon. You can hit us up there, support us so that we can afford some new equipment or some shit. And afford the movie tickets for Black Widow. That'd be great. Yeah. Give us some money. All right, that's it. Let us know what you think. Let us know you're out there listening. We'll talk to you soon. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Scarlett Joe.
For now.